TDPK Podcasts, Thailand GameChanger, inside the minds of Thailand's innovators. Hi, this is Michael Waitze and welcome back to Thailand GameChanger. Today I'm joined by Warodom Khamphanchai, the founder and CEO of AltoTech. Arm, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for coming in and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Me too.
Can you give our listeners and our viewers a little bit of your background for context?
My background, I graduated from Virginia Tech. I got PhD in electrical and computer engineering. I used to work with Department of Energy. We have project between university and Department of Energy in the US.
In the United States?
In the States.
Go ahead, okay.
Before I graduated, I went to, there's a program called CPT, Curriculum Practical Training. It's just kind of like the short program that you can go to work with any company in the States.
Okay.
So I went to, actually I applied to many company like Apple, my goal is to go to Silicon Valley, by the way. So I just applied to Apple, just applied to Tesla. Applied to Tesla.
Okay.
Applied to Samsung. Right. So yeah, that I went to many interviews and eventually I got a job with Samsung SmartThings.
Wow.
So it's kind of like they are the top of the IoT company in the world. So they integrate many devices to your home, to electric vehicle. So I went to be software developer.
So what was your interest in IoT? Where did that come from? And for people that may not know what IoT is, the Internet of Things, right?
Right.
So where did your interest in that come from?
Right. Actually, my background is in energy, in electrical engineer, in mechanical engineer. So I got introduced to IoT when I went to the States. Actually, in 2011.
Okay.
At that time, it's pretty new. It's it's kind of, if you imagine 9 or 10 years back, is you cannot imagine that you can have a phone that you can flip your light on and off. Right. It's kind of it's 10 years back.
It's like magic.
It's pretty much like magic.
Feels like
but
magic.
For now, it's normal for everyone. So I got introduced to IoT because in energy network, right? So typically it's just electrical and hardware, right? But when I went there and software becoming more and more introduced to the power grid, and IoT becoming a crucial element in the network, right? So in power, power system is kind of like the biggest system in the world.
Yeah, and it's interconnected everywhere.
Exactly. Right. So that's the place where IoT. There are a lot of IoT in the system.
Right.
So I went there and I joined the lab called at Advanced Research Institute at Virginia Tech.
Got it. Okay.
So at the lab we have many IoT devices. For example, smart meters, the device that control aircon, device that for solar, solar inverter and all this stuff.
Right. And were you doing specific work at, I presume you call it ARI, right? But you also worked at the Building Energy Management Lab, right? Mm-hmm. And also the Smart Grid Lab, inside of both of those places. Right. Tell me more about what you learned when you were there.
At the lab, so what I learned is that we try to make energy system to be as efficient as possible, because we one thing is energy is highly related to environment, right?
Absolutely.
We have buildings or buildings or home or factory. They when we consider all this asset together, they emit a lot of pollution.
Absolutely.
So at the lab we try to make homes, buildings to be as efficient as possible with IoT and AI and data technologies.
And so I love the fact that there's actually a social impact or a social innovation perspective on this as well. I want to back up a little bit. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Chiang Rai.
Right, which I find fascinating. And for people that don't know where Chiang Rai is in Thailand relative to Bangkok, how far away is it? And what's the difference?
It's 700 kilometers away. So it's, driving from my home in Chiang Rai to Bangkok, it takes around 10 hours.
It takes about 10 hours today. When I made that drive, it took about 3 days or 4 days, just so you know.
It's quite far.
And when you were little, the reason why I want to do this, so I want to put this into perspective, it's like the ability for somebody from Chiang Rai as a little boy or a little girl to then end up at Virginia Tech and at the ARI, the Advanced Research Institute, I think is kind of amazing. It's inspirational, and it's also aspirational for kids. When you were little, did you think that that was going to be your path?
Not really, actually. My dream is just, go to some university in Bangkok, graduate and work. It's like kind of like I look around me, it's just only this story. There's nothing else around me,
So how did that end up happening? I'm really curious, like how that path took place. And the reason why is because I think it drops down to the bottom of the funnel when you went and then founded AltoTech. And I want to get to that in a second too, but I want to understand how that journey took place. When did you realize that idea that you had of I just want to go to university in Bangkok and get a job wasn't what was actually going to happen to you, but something maybe bigger or wider was going to happen?
I see. So actually, when I went to Chulalongkorn University, undergrad. So
and that's where you studied mechanical engineering.
Electrical
engineering. Okay.
So I saw that at that time I want to be I really consider whether I gonna be computer engineer or I want to be electrical engineer.
Right.
So at that time I think, I want to be like, if I go like study computer engineering, maybe I don't know, like something else, but I think electrical engineer can learn computer. I want to write code that control the energy system, the electrical network.
Right.
So I just gonna be electrical engineer who can code. And when I get introduced to coding and with energy asset, I think there are a lot of application. There are so many things I can do. As you know, the richest guy in the world now is Elon Musk, right?
Right.
So he do many things regarding to energy. Right. He has like solar company. He has like Tesla, electric car, battery.
Right.
So there are a lot of things to do. That's what I get introduced.
I got it.
To this and make the big dream.
Right. So when did you come back from the United States to Thailand?
I came back in 2016.
Okay, so that's not that long ago.
Right.
So you were actually there from 2011 until 2016. You were still at ARI?
At the States, right.
So I'm just so interested in this, but what was the atmosphere like there? Because, so many smart people trying to figure out so many difficult and solve so many difficult problems. It must have been, for you, just really exciting, no?
Mm-hmm. Right. I think for me, when I look at the assets, when I look at the energy system,
right,
it's really exciting that we can write code to control them.
I just think it's awesome.
For example, like in 2011 or 12, when I was in Thailand, I never write code to control anything before. I go there, I can write the code to control lighting.
See, but I can see it in your face. It's exciting.
It's very exciting.
It's
it's like I can control aircon and control the whole building. I can control the whole lab with code.
Right.
So it's kind of like I can think that if I can control it, like do simple control, I can do much more complex stuff.
Right.
And can make things more efficient. And there are a lot of things that can be done.
I think a lot of engineers and computer engineers as well have this epiphany moment where they figure out that by writing the code, they can then take control of a machine.
Right.
And then once you figure that out, then you can determine, okay, which machines do I want to control? And then what do I want to have the impact of that control end up being? Right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, go ahead. So now I want to understand AltoTech. You came back, you said in 2016. And into what kind of environment? Did you consider going to get a job, or did you just say, I have to start something on my own because I know that not just in Bangkok, but in all of Thailand, there's an opportunity to do this thing?
I see. Actually, I came back. Before I came back, I really considered whether to come back or not come back.
Tell me.
I got a job offer in the Valley. Right, and I really consider whether I'm gonna leave the job or come back to Thailand.
Okay,
it's a really tough decision.
I'm sure it's a hard decision.
But I think to myself, if I am still in the Valley, maybe I'm a small engineer in big firm.
Right.
Okay, I can make like lots of impact to people in the world. I did made like big mistake actually.
What was that?
The first code that I wrote for SmartThing is Kali that it's there's some bug that 10,000 people when they use my code they cannot control the AC.
Okay.
That's the first mistake I made. I learned.
Everybody makes mistakes.
I learned from it. Yeah. So yeah, when I consider if I come back to Thailand I can make a lot of impact to the country. To people here and maybe to like young kids that get inspired from my story.
Right.
So I decided I want to come back, and when I come back I work for electricity utility.
Oh, really? So you're right back into the energy business.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I work for PEA.
What does that stand for?
Provincial Electricity Authority.
I understand. Okay.
So PEA for 3 years. 2016 to 2019.
And did you do that purposefully just to learn about what the systems were like? Do you know what I mean?
Right. So one thing purposefully, and also like I got like contract with PEA.
Got it.
So when I graduate, I have to come back.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
Right. Okay. So I came back and worked for them at the. So I was the lead for IoT development team at PEA. So I did like some like fun project with them, like a smart home platform called PEA Hive.
Okay.
Or the platform that connect with electric vehicle.
Got it.
So yeah.
Okay.
So that's after that in 2019, I decided there are a lot of challenges when I try to do something big in corporate.
I understand. That's true everywhere though, right?
I mean that's why I think it might be the time that I need to leave PEA and start my own company.
What language were you writing predominantly when you were at PEA?
It's Python.
Python, okay. Python. That's a pretty modern language,
yeah?
Yeah, okay, Python.
Right.
Go ahead. Okay, so you were saying, so you decided if I want to do something else, I'm going to have to start my own company.
Right. So I think I want to be entrepreneur.
Right.
So inside corporate, maybe there like many contexts that prevent you from, for example, like if I want to raise fund, I cannot raise fund.
Internally, it's impossible.
In corporate, because maybe corporate gonna say, other people gonna say, oh, corporate has a lot of money.
Right. But also internally, if you're trying to, because capital raising inside of a big corporation also occurs. It's just called getting budget from somebody else. And when you have to get a budget from somebody else, now you're competing internally for legacy systems, other businesses that are already making money.
Exactly.
So getting funding for something new is actually much more non-trivial in a way than just raising money as a startup.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's why that's the reason I actually it's also in my plan that I want to be entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so I left PEA in 2019.
Not that long ago.
Right. And started AltoTech.
Okay.
Right.
And what does AltoTech do?
For AltoTech, we developed the energy management platform that for buildings. So our main target to help hotels and buildings to save energy. So with our energy management platform.
Right. And before you left PEA, did you know exactly what you were going to do? And did you already have sort of specific potential clients in mind as well?
Yes. Actually, when I was at PEA, I got introduced to many businesses.
For sure.
Got introduced to many vendors.
Right.
So it kind of it also like enforced me like when I started my own company.
Right.
Because in this business, I mean in energy business, it's really tough for some unknown guy to start a startup.
Sure.
Because you have to know many vendors, you have to like have trust for the people.
Right.
I mean, especially in Thailand.
I think it's actually true everywhere. In other words, if you want to get into the energy business in Japan, if you don't know TEPCO and KEPCO and then all of their vendors and all the people to whom they connect, you're just starting so far behind.
Exactly.
Right. I think in a way, the part of the brilliance here is that you actually went to work for PEA. Whether you had to or not, it's a different story. Because when you're sitting there, now you understand their tech stack. And everything you do on the grid at some level probably has to go through them anyway. Right?
Right.
And even if it's not just in Bangkok, it must be similar to other provinces and cities.
Right.
Is that fair?
Right.
So, and again, just refresh my memory. Where did we meet? Because I know we've met before, right?
Yeah, we met at Chulalongkorn.
At the Basai program.
Basai, at
Right.
Basai.
And were you there as a startup or were you there as a mentor?
I worked there as a mentor.
Oh, at the beginning, okay.
Yeah, as a mentor.
And what did you think about that from an AltoTech perspective?
I think for Basai ecosystem it is good. I mean, I wish there were school like this when I was in undergrad.
So do I.
Yeah. I mean, I joined Chulalongkorn in 2008, and at that time, there's no one talking about being entrepreneur. Everyone gonna be the big dream is to have good grade. Right. Join the big corporate.
So what kind of corporate did people want to join in?
I think at that time maybe PTT for sure.
Right, for sure.
Big oil company like Shell, Chevron.
Right, Chevron. I get it.
Exactly. So big corporate.
Okay.
That time.
So when you left, because I want to come back to AltoTech in a second, but when you left the country, right, to go get your master's degree and your PhD, or just to go get your PhD, what was the response like from your family and even from your friends? Because a lot of your friends from Chula probably just went right into Chevron or right into Mobil or right into Shell, right? Did they think you were a little bit crazy kind of thing? Were they envious?
I think they curious. They curious. Yeah, they're curious. Not many people go and doing PhD. Right?
Not a lot of people from Thailand go to Virginia from a technology standpoint and go get a PhD. It's very difficult anyway. I don't think most people understand how non-trivial a PhD is. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard. It's not just like taking a couple of classes and passing some tests.
Exactly.
It's really hard.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Right. So I think at that time I dream really big. I want to disrupt energy industry. I saw a lot of inefficiency in energy industry.
Tell me.
And that's why I think my knowledge from undergrad, master is not enough. I have to go for PhD so that I can understand more complex concept and be able to do what I want to do. Yeah.
Are you kind of nostalgic about the time you had in Virginia? So nostalgic meaning you look back on it really fondly? In other words, even though it was hard, was it fun as well?
Yeah, I think it's tough, but it's so fun. I mean, almost every winter there, I put myself at the lab. I didn't go back home.
Ah, right.
I didn't go back home. That's some, I'm not sure whether my professor know this, but some month I just live
in the lab.
I just live in the lab.
Yeah, I get it.
It's kind of sleeping, eating, everything doing in the lab, just sitting in front of my computer and try to hack something.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a blast, isn't it? It's just so much fun. Right. Before you left for Virginia, did you speak English this well?
No, not really.
But now you're fine. You're comfy, yeah?
I think I'm comfy speaking English, but before I left Thailand,
right?
I mean, it's kind of my English not that good because not many friends.
Just not a lot of time to use it, right?
Exactly, and when I go there, my English is still not that good.
Right.
I attended English class at the church.
Oh, you did?
Close to school.
Close to school.
So after school, I go to church
to learn English, though, right?
To learn English.
I get it. So you started AltoTech in which year? You said 2019?
2019.
At the beginning, in the middle, at the end? When?
In August 2019.
So it's only a year and a half.
Exactly.
Basically.
Right.
So tell me more. What's the status of AltoTech? Where does it stand today?
Okay, for AltoTech, last year we focusing on hotel and building.
How many people in the company?
For now we have when I start is one, right? Only one man.
So
August
you and somebody else, or just you?
Just me. And 2019 we finished the year with 5 people.
Okay.
And 2020 last year we have 14.
Okay,
so we have employee from Thailand, Myanmar, and Belgium. You may curious Myanmar.
Okay, that's really great, actually. And does that mean that there's revenue in the company that's then funding the growth?
Yes. So now we got angel investor.
You did.
We haven't. Yeah, we did. We haven't raised seed fund yet, but we're actively actively looking for seed fund.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But so you had an angel investor seed the money, which again gives you some running room, right?
Right.
So now you can develop some stuff, but also maybe hire a salesperson or a business development person. You said you were focused on hotels. How did that go?
So you know, like 2020, hotel has been hitting hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah. So we got some of the hotels that they think that okay, they can survive, and their business, like they have like some of the budget that want to improve their hotel and, you know, make it to be more efficient.
Right.
Because, you know, for hotel business, you cannot make more money. You have to
not last year.
Right. You cannot make more money last year, but you have to like how to become more efficient.
Right.
Millions of people, you know, working for a hotel, they have to like quit their job. They don't have the job.
Right.
But hotel also has to survive.
Right.
So hotel has been hitting hard. So our solution is to help hotel to be like energy efficient and operational efficient. So if they don't have that, you know, maybe in the past they may have 100 staff. How do they survive and can be operate with, you know, like 50 people,
right?
Or like, you know, or maybe 30 people.
I understand.
So our solution is to help them like to be like, you know, energy efficient as well as like operational efficient.
Got it. And what other customers are you targeting?
Yeah, we have. So for last year, we also like try to explore many business like buildings. Actually, True Park also one of our clients.
Really?
So we more like focus on office. We have office customer like building in near Chulalongkorn, Komin Tower.
Okay.
We have customer university, Chulalongkorn, also like our client. So we working with them for the project called Chula Smart City.
Ah, right. Yeah, that's a big deal actually. And look, in Thailand, it's kind of unique, right? Because of the geographical location. Every month, every season is an air conditioning season, right? So I guess in other countries, there's the heating system as well. So it's kind of the same thing. But when you go into TDPK or when you go into a university or even go into a hotel and say, this is going to cost you money, but in the end, it's going to save you a lot more than it costs. How do you show that to them, and what kind of cost savings can they expect? Or do you expect?
I see. So actually, for many buildings, we can simply calculate the efficiency, right? You just look at your electricity bill and there's index, there's standard from energy ministry, from like, you know, ASHRAE standard, right? Like ASHRAE, like some IEEE standard.
I understand.
So we can look at your consumption compared to the standard, and also we can do like what we call a horizontal, you know, like benchmark. So we can compare you with for example, like your buildings, other building with the same type, how like where you stand.
Okay. So but you wrote all that software from scratch?
Yes.
So just from August of 2019?
Actually, it's the work that I did in 2011. So it's kind of like as I have like experience, I developed the software. So every experience from 2011
until founding. So you can then reuse some of that software, make it better, make it more efficient, make it cleaner, all that stuff.
Exactly.
That's awesome, right?
Exactly.
So you mentioned TDPK as a client, but as someone that may be using your software. You know, True Digital Park itself as well also had something called a climate change hackathon. I think it was last year in November, if I remember correctly. Did you participate in that?
Yeah, I participated as actually as a speaker, as a mentor. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And how do you think that went? And I'll tell you why. Because I think it was in December. I can't remember when, but we already did an episode on that hackathon with the deputy ambassador from the UK, Alexander Mackenzie, sat in the same space that you did, and we had a great conversation about it. I'm curious what your impression was.
I think it's really good initiative that you know, it kind of like for energy hackathon or climate hackathon in Thailand. It's not quite often that we can see this event occur. right? I think I really appreciate what they have done, and very interesting event actually.
Right.
So for the climate, I read many papers. So they say that in 2020, CO2 emission, the emission reduced because we use less energy. But after COVID-19,
right,
they think it's the level of emission is gonna jump back to the same level or more.
Probably.
So
it's too bad, but yeah.
Holding the climate change hackathon, I think it's kind of inspired many startups, many students to think about how can you tackle the climate issue.
I agree.
Because as you know, if you go to like website like NASA Climate,
right,
you can see the level of CO2 now. Right? It has been like increased since like a century ago. Right? It's for now. If we look at CO2, it's around like 415 ppm.
Right.
If I convert that to, I think maybe this one is not. It's many people don't get it. But if we talk about temperature, the words like the temperature has been increased for 0.5 Celsius to Fahrenheit. To Fahrenheit increase, we can see a lot of disaster happen.
Absolutely.
So they're like
weather
more
changes,
strong. Right?
Polar ice caps melting.
Exactly.
And for an Earth,
hurricanes.
Just
you see Wi-Fi in San Francisco,
storm, right,
in Australia,
right,
and also coral bleach,
right,
in Australia,
right.
So that the impact of 0.5,
right,
0.5 Celsius.
So what happens if it goes up another 0.5?
So yeah, they said in 2000 in like I think it's in like maybe like 80 years from now, 20 like the next century actually, 2100,
right.
The temperature can increase for 2 Celsius,
right, which is just disastrous.
So 0.5 we see a lot of disaster, but 2 Celsius you're not gonna have
disastrous.
Imagine.
So you remember when March, I think it was like in the middle of March, we went into lockdown in Bangkok and the rest of Thailand. And for like 2 or 3 months, most people didn't leave their houses. And if you started looking outside up at the sky, it just seemed clear, perfectly clear. There's a part of me, and we don't have to get into this discussion, but there's a part of me that thinks that every year, every country should just shut down factories for a month, just to like re-clean the air. But anyway, I think that you're right, that the hackathon was important, and I'm happy that not just the UK embassy, but that a group like TDPK supports the sort of climate change hackathon, because I think it's important, particularly in the context of all of the startup stuff that's happening here as a hub. And I want to ask you this. You worked for PEA, right? You were an academic for a while. But now that you're building your own company in Thailand, what do you think are some of the challenges for you? Like, you've already raised some angel funding. But what do you think are some of the challenges? And we can leave the funding to the side. What do you think some of those challenges are for you?
I think for the challenges, for especially in energy domain, I think the challenges is to how to make your customer to trust you.
Yeah, fair.
Because you're a startup.
Right.
I think trust from customer is like, if you would want to convert the interest client into like, you want to convert them to the customer that pay for your service. It's really tough at the beginning.
Right.
I mean, I can imagine like for the first project that we get, it's really tough because I have nothing. Okay, they know, this guy get PhD, this guy went to the Valley, this guy worked for PEA.
But so what?
But this guy never done business before.
Right, he's never done this before.
Exactly.
so
how can I trust you?
Right.
So yeah, that's trust. I think it's like number one.
Okay.
That we face at the beginning that we start the business. Number two is about employee. How do you, because as a CEO, as entrepreneur, you have to convince not only investor, not only your client, but your employee.
Right. I mean, it's kind of all around the same sort of Lexus, right? In the sense that first you have to convince a customer to trust you.
Right.
And I want to know how you did that. Then you've got to convince somebody to fund you.
Right.
So somebody who may or may not know you has to give you money.
Right.
This is a hard thing.
Exactly.
And then the last thing is, and in any particular order, the last thing is, now you've got to get some lady who writing Python to give up her job at PTT.
Right.
who can come work for you.
Exactly.
And you know, in Thailand, her parents are going to say to her, "Are you
Don't
insane?
do that." Right.
You work for this guy.
Right.
It's not stable."
Right.
How do you handle all of that?
Yeah, it's really tough. So how do I handle, right? So I think employee acquire them is tough. So what I did, I think people when you're gonna believe someone,
right?
You're gonna think, okay, what value this guy can give to you. So what I did, I think my value is to many people, many smart people, many talented people, they want to work with someone who also talented.
Absolutely.
So I teach a lot. I teach a lot. I teach. I cooperate with university.
Right.
I also teach for 2D Digital Academy. I teach KVTG. So I teach big corporate.
Do you ever sleep?
Not
really.
Not quite.
Not really.
Yeah. So I teach a lot. So and I wrote blog. And I went to many, for example, hackathon or event as a mentor to try to get to know those talent people.
Exactly.
So I think I even I even hold online event called 100 days machine learning challenge.
Okay.
So it's online. It's free online.
Of course, it's free.
So
what was it though?
It's about learning machine learning for 100 days straight.
Okay. And you teach that?
I taught it.
So every day?
Every day, 1 hour.
So if that's 3 months and 10 days, whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Every day.
So you're definitely not.
So it's really crazy.
No, it is crazy.
Teaching 1 hour, you have to have at least 10 hours.
For sure.
To prepare the 1 hour
prep.
class.
Nobody understands this.
Exactly. So.
But also an hour or two later to answer questions, yeah?
Exactly.
Right.
So that 1 hour, 100 hours for other people,
it's like a day's worth of work.
1,000 hours for me.
Right. It's like a day's worth of work.
Exactly.
For every day. For every hour,
day,
yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, I mean, many people know me as Bangkok AI ambassador, instructor, teaching machine learning, teaching corporate.
Right.
So and then I kind of convince people. Okay, now I'm working with a startup called AltoTech, and ask for my student who that I see. Oh, this guy talent. Okay, this guy talent, and ask them to come and work.
So remember, we talked about the bus side program, right? So for you, it's just another way to access talent as well, right? And again, by doing that 100 days of machine learning thing, you do create this feeling of ambassadorship for IoT, for technology development, for startups, and everybody knows you. I mean, I believe this strongly that sort of content creation, but also educating people on a topic gives you credibility over time. And if you do it in a public way, they can't take away from you the fact that you've done that, right? Just a quick question. So we both did this thing at Basai, right? At Chulalongkorn University. Do you think other universities should do similar things? And do you think they will? In Thailand, yeah?
Like the ecosystem or
just have this focus on technology, understanding startups, and creating programs to get better inclusion, but also involvement for even their youngest students. Remember, we talked about this offline. You're mentoring 18-year-olds.
Right.
So am I.
Right.
So it's just a different mentality for them to understand what it's like to build something from scratch, as opposed to just going to get a job at some big consulting company or some big oil company. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just different. Yeah.
Right. I think the program is really good that
I think so
students get exposed to entrepreneur.
Right. I agree.
Right. So it's kind of like you ask me about challenges that I'm facing.
Absolutely.
So when we mentor them and they at 18 years old and they know this, what challenge they're gonna face.
Right. So because I have no idea at 18.
Yeah, they know exactly. When I was 18, I have no idea.
No idea.
But they're 18 and they know that what's the pains that they have to overcome. What gonna be the challenges that they have to overcome? I think having this program get them to be prepared when they're gonna graduate and do their own startup.
Right.
But one thing that I think maybe many people, some people may not agree with me, or some will agree. I think even though they study about to be entrepreneur,
right,
after they graduate, I don't think they have to start their own startup right away.
No, I agree with you.
I think they have to work for other people before they being a boss. They have to be.
But also, those are going to be your potential clients. Right. In other words, you definitely benefited from working at PEA because then you understood how that whole ecosystem worked. I'm not saying you have to do that, but again, your life is just easier because you have context. And they should do the same thing.
Exactly.
It's so hard to just go start something at 21 without having any context, no management experience, no financial management experience, nothing.
No contracts. I mean,
nothing.
Right. So I think with this experience that we have learned, I think they can shortcut learning from us, and if they follow, they may be building a unicorn startup because they know they learn I think startup in Thailand ecosystem startup start I think in 2016. Maybe 15,
like
16.
2012, but it really didn't mature until 16, 17,
exactly.
For sure.
So 2016, many people doing startup and do we have learned a lot from there. So but this kid they learn they know exactly what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Some
they're born into it in a way, right?
Exactly. Many startups in Thailand they raise fund Series seed, Series A, Series B already, right? Maybe some startup can be unicorn. So I think they can learn a lot from this, and they know exactly if they want to become unicorn, what they have to do, what profile they have to make.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing. What do you think is going to change the game in Thailand?
What I think is going to change game Thailand.
Yeah, for startups like yours, or even for ones we haven't even dreamed up yet.
I see. I think the world is now open, right? We have 4G. We're gonna have 5G. 5G is coming.
Right.
So, startup in Thailand, we not limit to client or to customer in Thailand anymore.
Good answer.
You can have client around the world. Right. So you don't you're not only gonna sell your product, your service to Thai people. You can and also one of the competitive advantage Thailand have is that comparing. I when I was in the US, I think I live in San Francisco. I want to do startup in San Francisco.
Right.
How I'm gonna make money to pay rent? How I can make money to pay my employees?
Exactly.
My employee, they can need $100,000
at least
salary,
and they'll still be broke.
I'm gonna be broke. I cannot be CEO. But in Thailand, different.
Yeah.
Talent access to you can learn from virtually from anywhere. There are content world class content that you can learn.
Absolutely.
So students in Thailand or people in Thailand can be expert.
Right.
If you're expert and you get good in something, you expose to the world market.
Yeah.
So
look, I want to agree with you. I want to say that people don't understand, people outside of Thailand, and we'll finish with this for a second, but they don't understand how great the sort of digital infrastructure is here. I sit in this office here and I get 400 to 500 megabits up and down.
Wow.
Right. And I think that surprises most people. But I think you're right. This idea of sort of all opportunities are open to you. You're the perfect example of it. And you're right. The kids that are starting now, they won't feel any restriction.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great answer. Okay. Look, I really want to thank you for coming in and doing this today. Warodom Khamphanchai, the founder and CEO of AltoTech.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
TDPK Podcasts, Thailand GameChanger. Inside the minds of Thailand's innovators.